Good evening, everyone. I'm Rebecca Enby Lichtenberg, Studios Managing Director.
And I'm David Muse, Studios Artistic Director. Welcome to our season preview, and thank you for joining us today. I was going to do this with our new theater as a backdrop. That was our original plan. And we're under construction at the moment and must have snipped some Ethernet cable or something because our internet currently is spotty enough not to be trusted. So I'm in my bedroom, Rebecca's at home, but we have some photos to show you of everything that's going on. Rebecca's actually going to kick us off tonight with a construction update.
Yeah, we are really excited to share that the renovation project is nearing completion. We're in what feels like the final countdown. When we reopen for flight in December, we'll be putting on some finishing touches, and then the project will be completely done by the end of January, and we can't wait for you all to see the new building at the beginning of 2022. We couldn't be broadcasting there tonight because construction sites and Wi-Fi don't go together, but we wanted to give you a sneak peek of what's been done so far. So one of the big goals of our renovation is to help open up our building to the community. So on the outside of the building, you can see that our middle building is painted bright yellow. You can't miss the front doors. When we finish the exterior renovation, there will also be new signage, new window treatments, and show posters on the outside of the building to help tell everyone about the art that's happening inside. We're also expanding the lobby space on the ground floor. So you'll see that this new area has been opened up. We've got glass bricks that are letting the light in. That will be a new lounge space so that when you come in, there's actually a place to hang out. This renovation is also going to help us keep our building open during the day so that we can invite in our community and our neighbors to just come in, hang out, use the Wi-Fi, take advantage of our lobby space. So we're excited to open the building up. Over in the new box office is also going to be facing 14th Street. So you can see this is our new box office window so that when you come into the doors, there will actually be somebody to greet you, answer your questions, sell you a ticket, welcome you to the building. You don't have to go all the way to the back of the space to find our box office. It is front and center and accessible from the street. And then over in the Mead lobby, we're opening that space up, and we are also bringing in a new partner, Rako Coffee Roasters, we are very excited to be working with. They are going to be running an all-day into the evening cafe and wine bar starting in this spring, and they're also adding on a 60-person outdoor patio to really activate that corner of 14th and P Streets. The centerpiece of the renovation is going to be our new theater space. I'm going to let David tell you all a little bit about that.
Thank you, Rebecca. That looks and sounds great. I'm going to talk a little bit about our new Sharguy Theater, which is renamed for longtime theater patron and enthusiast in Washington, D.C., Victor Sharguy, who used to be a member of our board. The basic idea is that we're taking one of our fixed seat theaters and turning it into a raw, open space. For those who are familiar with it, it's going to be similar to our experimental Stage 4 space in spirit, but it'll be capable of housing our most ambitious projects, and it'll be outfitted with state-of-the-art theater technology, and will really be a primetime space for us. Now, right now, this is the work of the moment. You can see the seats are gone. The floor is flat and no longer stepped. You can kind of see up above, there's something called a tension wire grid hanging up there. That's like a mesh ceiling that crew can actually just walk right across. There are perforated metal walls on 3 sides. You can just glimpse one of them on the east wall there of the new Sharguy space, and it will have its same exposed back wall that the old Matheny Theater had. You can see it lit up there along the side. Now you get to see even more of it. So we left that just like it is. The seats and risers to go in that space have been ordered. It's going to be capable of numerous configurations. You'll see a couple of them here. We can set it up like an end-on stage, and we could add a proscenium arch if we wanted to. So that's one configuration. Here's another one. This is a little bit more what we call alley style, where audience is on two sides and there's a playing area in the middle. And it can also be immersive or environmental or whatever kind of space we invent for a given production. There's going to be 2 plays in there this season. The first one is People, Places, and Things, which I'll direct. It'll be done alley style with some tech bells and whistles to show off some of our new theater toys. And then the last show of the season, Hot Wing King, which you'll hear about later, will also be in there. It'll be in a proscenium arrangement. It has a sort of a double height set, a house with more than one level, which is something we've sort of never been able to do before, never been able to do properly. So it's a really thrilling thing to have this season and to share with you all. Okay, now I'm going to begin to march through our season of 5 projects. And as I do that, I get to welcome 3 special guests as we go along. First up, I'm going to talk about a thing called Flight. Flight it's installation-based theater. So it's not a sort of traditional theater show in which everyone shows up at the same time and sits in the theater and watch live actors do their thing. It was created by a group of UK artists, including the guy who did the magic and special effects for the Harry Potter stage play, which are pretty amazing. The experience goes like this. You show up at an appointed time. You're ushered into a room. You actually watch from a bit of a private booth. You hear the play through headphones. So there's a photo of the sort of arrangement of the production. What happens is you're seated in front of a giant carousel, which spins around. And what you see is a series of exquisite little models, which are timed to the second precision to correspond to the story that you're hearing in your ears. So there you see a photo of a person sitting in their chair with their headphones on, watching these dioramas in front of you. It's like a 3D graphic novel plus an audio play. It tells the story of 2 refugees, brothers from Afghanistan trying to reach safety. They're traveling across Europe. It's a harrowing journey. Obviously, it's thematically incredibly now in terms of both what's going on in Afghanistan and also refugee stories more generally. And it's just like nothing you've seen before. It was created pre-pandemic, but we chose it in large part because it feels like a perfect piece of the pandemic emergence theater. Audiences show up at staggered times. People watch from private booths. So it's like a first step back at studio to live theater for our audiences. And it runs beginning in December, when our building still will be to some degree under construction, which will be a little bit probably of a fun thing to see. And it runs for quite a long time. It'll run until early March. So that kicks us off. First up is Flight. Next up is a play called White Noise, which is a play by Susan Laurie Parks. Susan Laurie Parks is a giant of the American theater. She's also a studio regular. This is our 4th production or series of productions by Susan Laurie Parks. For those people familiar with her work, what's quite striking is that at first it doesn't feel like a Susan Laurie Parks play. And by that I mean the characters aren't figures from history or people from the street or slaves. They are in fact 2 progressive interracial couples living in Brooklyn, and the spirit of the thing at the beginning is light and comedic. It doesn't feel like a giant reckoning with American history and race until it does. It's a play about the way that our country's racial legacy plays itself out in everyday lives and among a group of friends. This one will be in the Milton, so the idea is quite provocative content in our most intimate theater, which is something that we do a lot at Studio. And it's directed by Reg Douglas, who is, hi Reg. Reg is currently the Associate Artistic Director at Studio, but we only have him for a handful of months because it was just announced Sunday or Monday that Reg is the new artistic director of Mosaic Theater across town, which is like the most amazing match of artist and institution imaginable, and we're all quite thrilled for him. So Reg, congratulations to you.
Thank you. It's so great to be virtually with you.
I know. I want to just ask you a handful of questions about the play, and then see if you have anything to add. We've been in the middle of, casting and design, so I wonder if I can start with what you've been looking for in the actors for this play.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said is so spot on, that it's a comedy until it's not. And so the joy of casting is like encouraging actors to not play the drama and to instead give us all of the life and energy and fun that they can. And so we're trying to find really charming, interesting people, and we've lucked out so far. I'm really excited about this cast. It requires, actors that are wonderfully full of craft and skill, but also just quite emotionally present and available, and quite, they lure you in with their smile, that kind of easy charm that the best actors have. So I'm excited to get in the room with them, because it is a bit of an actor's gym to go from romantic comedy to really harrowing, heartbreaking reflection on what race, how it shows up in our relationships and our culture.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the physical production. Tell us about the set.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been calling it like it's the postage stamp theater. It's this big. And to put a story that's this electric in your lap is, one, feels very studio, but I think feels really right for this play and this production. We are leaning into the intimacy and really, throwing content that's provocative. I think our goal is to put this provocative content in your laps that you receive it, but also are forced to wrestle with it and reckon with it. And I think the production design, you've been calling it crabs in a barrel. So these actors, these characters who are like stuck in these two small apartments of New York City, fighting to get out. And I think that's what allows Susan Laurie Park's, really dynamic, exciting, incisive language to really become the main character of the play, because the arguments become so rich and textured and layered because they have nowhere else to go. They're trapped in these spaces to wrestle with their relationships with themselves. And as a result, with history, which I think makes it feel very Susan Laurie Parks by surprise.
Yeah, I agree.
Calling it a wrestling with like the future of what history could mean. What will the history books say about this current moment of racial relations? Maybe it will say this. And I think there's also the opportunity that we might be able to write something different if we listen to some of the arguments Susan Laurie's questioning or raising.
Yeah. Well, agreed. Okay. I think we can roll right on.
I think we're going to switch the tables.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to switch modes a little bit. We're going to talk about people, places, and things. And Reg is going to stay on, actually, to ask me some questions this time. Should I introduce it briefly, Reg?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Right. So this is a play by Duncan Macmillan, who is a close friend of Studio's. He's a UK-based writer. We premiered his play Lungs in 2012, which he describes as a bit of a saving grace for him personally and professionally. He was actually thinking about not being in the theater anymore. And then along came this chance to, work on a play that no one had been produced for, a number of years. And then he came back. He actually directed a production of Contractions up in Stage 4 in 2013. And in the intervening years, he's become quite fancy. Duncan's had multiple plays on the West End and Broadway. he was actually recently commissioned to write the new Game of Thrones stage play, which is planned for Broadway and the West End and Australia. This play is it's an addiction and recovery play whose main character is an actress, and it's working especially to present recovery from addiction truthfully. Like, he didn't want it to be a victim story, didn't want it to be a redemption story, to kind of like move away from those tropes, at which he describes as quite a challenge actually for a playwright, because the kind of ongoing, it never ends nature of recovery doesn't exactly suit the demands of dramatic form, which usually asks for some kind of beginning, middle, and end, and something that ties itself up at the end. Anyway, so that's a little bit about the play.
I mean, that's where my curiosity comes from, is be given the form of the play and the content of the play and the opportunity of the Shar Guy, how are you imagining this production?
Yeah, well, one of the things I like about it is that Duncan felt a couple things. One is he wanted the protagonist to be a woman. And the other one is he didn't want us to sort of sit there in a way objectively and like observe her harrowing recovery experience. So instead, it's like a subjective production. And by that, I mean, we're supposed to experience these events like she does, as she does, not watch her go through them, but like really be there with her. And so that means that it uses the language and the tricks of the theater to capture the feeling of like being on drugs or going through really significant withdrawal, that kind of thing. But if, a moment is disjointed for her, it's disjointed for us. And if it's kind of like excruciating for her, it's supposed to be a little bit excruciating for us. So that's the idea. It's like she never leaves the stage. It's, a kind of like epic performance piece for an actor. And we're supposed to just be totally on her journey, from beginning to end, and utilizing like a lot of the tricks of the theater in order to do that.
Yeah, I mean, something I'm struck by, because I get the behind the scenes opportunities, is how the design is shaping up with scenic, sound, lights, costumes, and multimedia.
Yeah.
And it feels like the ensemble becomes a bit of a design device as well. How you're able to use the cast of 11. Yeah,
cast of 11. We decided to, start with a bang in the unveiling of a new space. So a lot of technical tricks. But one of the things I like about it is like, it's not just a tech play. I mean, it definitely has all those elements and, some kind of like big production numbers. And then you'll be dropped into the middle of just a really good scene. And then, it does something else. And there's some other surprises up its sleeve. And then you get another really good scene with a really good speech in it. And then, on we go. So you're kind of jumping back and forth between a quite, a production heavy kind of tech mode, and then like just a really straight ahead, well-written, good play with great opportunities for actors.
Which feels very right. For a season.
Yeah.
Are we going to trade places? Back to you hosting and me backstage?
Yeah, I think you're going to go backstage. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations again, Reg. Now I'm going to talk about the next play in the season, which is John Proctor is the Villain. I'm joined by the director of that production, Marti Lyons. Marti directed The Wolves for us, Kings for us, both in its in-person and its audio version. And she too has also recently been named an artistic director of a theater company in Chicago called Revi Bumpo. So congratulations to you.
Thank you, David. You have good taste, Good
we're
taste
like we're like swimming in artistic directors and fancy people tonight. Marti, let me just say a word or two about the play, and then I'm going to hand things over to you and ask a couple of questions. This is a brand new play. It's a world premiere. It's by a writer named Kimberly Bellflower. who is not yet a kind of household name for theater people, but is about to be. She's going to burst onto the scene, I think, in a really major way. It's set in a one-stoplight town in Georgia. I also grew up in a one-stoplight town in Missouri, and I love the way that the play captures how these students are both like a product of their place, but also how young people in rural Georgia these days can also kind of be, woke and hip to the world. They get to kind of be both things at once in a way that I think is really super fun. It's part coming of age play, part awkward high school years play, part Me Too era play, part questioning canonicity play. So it's a little bit hard to sort of classify and sum up, but it's delightful and a little bit devilish, and we're really thrilled to be presenting it for the very first time. So Marti, you've done a lot of plays featuring young women lately. Is that by chance? What do you think's going on there?
Yeah, well, I'm really thrilled to be back at Studio and with you, David. I think Studio is a thought leader and just produces excellent new work and is always having a conversation that I feel really glad to be a part of. So work about young women. I think that it's a perspective, that it's a group of voices and a point of view that people are interested in hearing now, maybe more than ever before. And so there's a higher likelihood that the work will be produced, and also there's an appetite for it. So I think that probably has a lot to do with it. And then I don't know, I enjoy so much the characters in this play, who are very different than the characters in The Wolves, but there certainly is some overlap. And the excitement of that youth energy and what I think you characterized so well of the adolescence, but also the excitement of adolescence, and also some of the danger of adolescence, that all of that packs quite a punch when you're in the in-group of that community, which is very much how I feel in this play. So I don't know, I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I like to think of it as like definitely a kind of a young person's play, but equally a play for all. Would you agree with that?
I would totally agree with that. And I think that there's also something for lovers of the Crucible, which is a play that I love. There's also an interesting conversation to be had with the points of view of the characters in the play who are studying Arthur Miller's Crucible in their class. So that's as you mentioned, that's an entry point to the piece, as well as the sort of delightful, charming nature of this collection of characters, I think is another layer of dialogue that one can have with the material that's really thrilling.
Yeah. Now you're also like deep in the middle of, design and figuring out how to do it. So what are you feeling excited about?
I am so excited about proximity. I think we've been isolated for so long in COVID, and Studio does such a brilliant job of putting audience proximate to the art and the artists. And so I know that the experience of being in the thrust with this play is a very different experience than if it were in the proscenium. So I'm just excited for the amazing audiences at Studio to feel like they are witness to it, but also to feel like they're in the thick of it, because I think it's the most exhilarating way to enter this piece.
Yeah, good. Well, I can't wait.
Thank you.
So great to see you. Thank you for zooming in and joining us.
Thanks,
I'm going to move now. Yep, thank you. I'm going to move now and talk about the final play of the season, and then bring its director on. The final play of the season is Hot Wing King. It's by Katori Hall, who is a writer whose career has been on fire for a decade, first with a series of acclaimed plays, and now more recently with a hit TV show called P-Valley, which is based on a play that she wrote. This play won the Pulitzer Prize for drama this summer. It's set in Memphis. I actually have a quote here from the Pulitzer Committee. They call it a funny, deeply felt consideration of Black masculinity and how it is perceived, filtered through the experiences of a loving gay couple and their extended family as they prepare for a culinary competition. Now, that sounds a little academic, given how boisterous the play is, but it's very true. And I'm really lucky to have the director of the original New York City production, Steve Broadnax.
Hello.
He's also directing ours. And Steve is fresh from his Broadway debut.
Yes.
Thoughts of a Colored Man. So congratulations about that.
Thank you very much.
And your very busy year and all the exciting things you have going on.
Yes. But excited to be at the studio. It's been a dream of mine to work at your theater, and dreams come true. So here we go.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, this is a play that the pandemic shut down.
Correct.
So, what makes you, and I suppose Katori, eager?
Oh, no.
Hello.
Hey.
So I think David has some Wi-Fi connection issues. I think I'm going to step in until he comes back.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. I think David was going to ask you, what gets you and Katori excited about the opportunity to go back into this play? You had such a successful run, cut short by the pandemic. So I'm curious, if you look towards 2022.
Yes.
Jazzed.
Well, we both look forward to, there were things, when we did it at the Signature that I know she and I wanted to explore a little more. Like you said, we got cut short. I think we only had 2 weeks of a run before the pandemic shut it down. So it's an opportunity in this new space to really explore a little bit more. We weren't quite finished with the guys yet, the characters in the play. So this is a great opportunity to get back in and explore and finish the process of this Pulitzer Prize play.
It's just so exciting. David mentioned the Broadway debut. That's only one of the handful of things you're up to right now. So I'm curious, can you tell the audience a bit about your career, your work, and what excites you about theater, especially in this moment we're in right now?
Well, you're right. Listen, it ain't nothing but blessings. I'm anointed, highly favored, a child of the Most High, and that is what's happening to me right now. I've been really blessed to do amazing works. I primarily have done new works, and like you said, I just opened a new work on Broadway by Keenan Scott II, Thoughts of a Colored Man, Pulitzer Prize with Katori Hall of Hot Wing King, and I'm just really blessed to just work on works that are important, that are urgent, I believe, the conversations that need to be had in all of these plays I've worked on. So it's blessings, and that's all that's been happening. So my career is really in other opportunities. I don't know if you know, I'm saying this out loud. I am going to direct Susan Laurie Park's new play.
See?
So, right. That's coming up and at the Public and at the Guthrie. So it's a lot of great things are coming up and on the books for me, but it's blessings and Hot Wing King means the world to me. And I identify as a same-gender loving man to get an opportunity to talk about the redefinition of family and what that means amongst Black men and Black masculinity, and who has a right to usher in Black masculinity, who holds court to it. What does it look like? And this play challenges all of that. But at its core and foundation is love. That love conquers all. Love conquers all. So it's a beautiful, beautiful story of love and family.
I can't wait. I'm so excited to be an audience member and support that work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, y'all. I'm back. my laptop started updating. Like I asked that question and suddenly the screen went, anyway, so I ran to a different computer in a different room and here I am.
Yes.
Hi. I mean, you sort of started to answer some of the questions that I had. So, Reg went away. So that all sounds great. I mean, what should we look forward to?
A lot of heart, love rules it all. Humor. The play is funny. At one point, it's dramedy. You know what I mean? It has Katoria has the such skill and able to tug at our heartstrings and then make us crack up laughing in the next beat. So it is about family and it feels good and the love of this new American family.
Yeah. Well, amazing. I'm just so pleased to share the production with audiences here. I managed to catch it before the pandemic shut it down, and I just feel really lucky to be able to host it in Washington for our city and for audiences, and to introduce them to the play and to you, Steve.
I'm excited, and I'm excited about the community coming out. Katoria and I are really excited because the community in your area, I think, is prime for this play. So we're looking forward to sharing it and me coming to the studio.
Yeah, good. Me too. Well, listen, thanks for zooming in and joining us.
All right, thank you.
Great to see you, and we'll talk soon.
You too. All right.
Okay, everybody. So that's the season. I'm very, very excited for you to join us in person as we welcome you back to live performance and to our new digs. I'm going to kick things over to Rebecca, who's going to shut us down.
It is a big, exciting season, and we can't wait to welcome you back. We know that one of the things that is really important to all of you and to us is safety. So I want to talk for a minute about some of the things that we're doing to ensure that studio is a safe environment for you all to come back to. We are making it easy. The things to know are bring your proof of vaccination and bring your mask. Those are the key things. We are also going paperless with our tickets. Our renovation is giving us a brand new HVAC system, which means we've got top of the line ventilation, plus extra cleaning. So we're taking all the precautions, but most importantly, we are also offering flexible ticket exchanges this whole year. So get your tickets now. If you need to exchange them, you're not feeling well, you want to stay home, just call the box office. We're going to make that really easy for all of you. At the start of the new year, we are also going to be announcing something that I think many of you will be really excited about. Valet parking is coming to studio. So for those of you that are worried about how to park, we're going to be rolling the details out shortly. Subscribers are going to get first dibs at valet parking. So stay tuned for more information about that. It is not too late to get your subscription before flight starts in mid-December, but single tickets are also on sale for Flight and White Noise. They actually went on sale today. It's the first time that we've had tickets for an actual seat in a theater on sale in a very long time. So that feels very exciting. Get your tickets. We can't wait to see you when we reopen to audiences in December. I want to thank a lot of people for helping to make tonight possible. In particular, thank you to all of our illustrious guests who joined us tonight. Thank you, Reg. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Steve. I also want to take a minute to thank all of our season sponsors. This is an amazing group of people who are helping to underwrite this season and make it possible. I want to say thank you to Susan and Dixon Butler, to Mark Epstein and Amaretta Hober, David and Jean Greer, Sari Hornstein, Albert Lauber and Craig Hoffman, David and Joan Maxwell, Katie and Paul Rosenzweig, Teresa and Dan Schwartz, Steve and Linda Scallett, Bobby and Ralph Turkowitz, Mark Tushnet and Elizabeth Alexander, and last but not least, Amy Weinberg and Norbert Hordstein. They are an amazing group. We are very grateful for all of their support. I also want to thank the Studio Theater staff. They are working fast and furiously to get us ready to reopen with a new building and an exciting new season. All of us are waiting to welcome you all back. We can't wait to see you. Until then, have a great night, and we will see you back at Studio Theater on 14th Street very soon.